Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. On today's show, we have not one, but two guests. The first guest is Josh. He is from the parish of St. Agnes in Freeland. And on September 13th, he is debuting a new men's group. It's a national group, actually based in Houston, Texas. And we're going to have a second guest, someone from Houston, to tell us more about the program, why you should go, and, get involved. So it's all coming up next on today's podcast, right after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to United in Mission, One Heart and Mind, a podcast from the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw. I'm your host, John Gonzalez, the Director of Communications here at the Diocese. Inspired by Acts 4:32, we believe that by coming together, one heart and one mind, we can strengthen our faith and live out our mission as disciples of Christ. Now, we have three pillars here at the Diocese. It's number one, to love and support our priest. Number two, to form disciples on mission, and number three, go after the lost sheep. Under the leadership of Bishop Robert Gruss, this podcast will explore our pillars and the many ways we are united in faith, service, and love. Join us as we share stories of hope, inspiration, and the power of community in our diocese. You'll find this episode, videos, events, and many more resources on our website. Just go to saginaw.org. Now, let's get to the show. Hey, everyone. John Gonzales here, Director of Communications for the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw. Super excited for today's show. As I said a little earlier, don't forget, United in Mission, One Heart and Mind is our special podcast where we tell people what's happening in the Diocese of Saginaw. And I have something really exciting to tell you about today because I believe, we'll talk to our first guest here, and I believe this is something brand new for our diocese, so we're excited about that. And then we also have someone joining us that is working out of the national office. So yeah, a lot to talk about on today's podcast. But first, let's introduce the local kid. We call ourselves still kids, right? We're still young. Men do that all the time, right? Josh Roggenbuck. He is going to be debuting or launching a brand new endeavor here for the diocese coming up September 13th. That Man Is You. I've heard about this. I have a friend that just raves about it and has been trying to get me to go for years, but just hasn't worked out. So, Josh, you're bringing this program, this national program, to Saginaw, Michigan, and tell us more about it.
Well, my family and I moved a little less than 2 years ago to Freeland, and we attend St. Agnes Parish. And our previous parish, St. Pius X, over in Granville on the west side of Michigan, had enough men to attend That Man Is You to have a Wednesday morning and a Saturday morning rendition of it. And I was able to take it in quite a bit when I wasn't traveling for my job. And I really missed it when we moved away. And we have a men's group at St. Agnes already, but that the timing for that didn't exactly align with my own interests. And I really just love the speakers and the camaraderie that's built with this program, so I just felt we really could use it.
Well, we're going to talk a lot more about the program, what it's like, the speakers, and so forth. But joining us, I don't know if you're in Houston, Jamie, but let's just say you're in Houston area. It's Jamie Gonzales. No relation. He spells his last name a little different than mine. It's the Texas version of Gonzalez. It ends with an S. Mine ends with a Z. Jamie, you're there with Paradisus Dei. One of the things you do is produce That Man Is You. How you doing, Jamie?
Doing great. Excited to be here. We all of our That Man Is You parish programs get launched next week, so we're about gonna hit the 1,000 mark. We're guessing here pretty soon, within the next week or so. So just a lot going on here as all of our parishes are getting ready and ramping up for a new year. So we're excited to have Josh on board. He's gonna be part of our new class. So about 100 or so brand new classes coming on board. So a lot to do, but all good things.
Well, I know, Jamie, that this started as like one class right in Houston there many years ago by your founder in like early 2000s. And today, there's so many people around the country that are getting this opportunity to gather with men once a week through special programs.
Absolutely, yeah. So, kind of started the initiative of, I would say, one man and some encouragement of some friends. So, our founder in 2001 kind of walked away from a job in the corporate world and decided that he wanted to do something for families. Felt a call to do family ministry. So you wonder, like, wait, you're a men's program. Well, Paradisus Dei is kind of the umbrella group, right? So that means Paradise of God. But this initiative was something that really came out of our founder Steve Bowman's just a Bible study he was doing with some other couples in his out of his home, when one of the men actually encouraged Steve, saying, "Hey, we need something for Catholic men. Like, I love the Bible study, this is great, but we need solid formation, something that is faithfully Catholic." There's essentially a Protestant group that meets down the street. They have 400 guys coming every week, and they just did a survey, and they found out 1/3 of the guys attending were Catholic. That just shows that our guys are hungry. The guys need something. So, Steve took that as a call, saying, like, all right, if this is something that God wants to do, then, I'll pursue that. And what started, like you said, I think back in 2004, the very first class, St. Cecilia's in Houston, Texas, has turned into a program that's now gone not just national, but international. We'll be in 12 different countries this year outside of the United States. And really, it just shows that men are hungry. They're hungry to step up into their faith, to learn about the faith, to be formed, but also to be brought into community with other Catholic men, because that's really what it is. It's a men's formation and leadership program. So you have some fellowship, you have a 30-minute video presentation from some of the best speakers across the country, and then we break them into small group. We put them into community to where they get a chance to, to learn and to grow from each other. So it's an exciting time.
It really is, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of those speakers that you're talking about. But Josh, so you moved from Grand Rapids where you participated in that Man Is You. You missed it. It didn't kind of work into your schedule, or you worked into your schedule when you were there. The Bible study that was at St. Agnes didn't work into your schedule. I ran into something similar. So I was in Grand Rapids before moving to Saginaw, and at our parish there, at St. Jude Parish, we had a men's group that we launched several years ago. I wasn't involved. There was a separate men's group that just didn't meet at the time that I wanted to. So our priest there asked me to start a men's group and to restart a Bible study. And I actually looked at that Man Is You, but one of the things that it didn't turn me off, it just like makes things an extra challenge. They seem to run these programs early in the morning. So Josh, I'm assuming you're a morning person.
I am a little bit. At St. Pius, it worked great for me to go at 6 in the morning, and I could be at my desk in Zealand at 7:30.
Wait, hold on, stop time out here. 6 in the morning?
Yeah, so ours at St. Agnes won't be that early because there are a number of senior gentlemen that just can't get up that early, and it is Saturday. We're going to do it on Saturdays, and so we don't want to take away from a little bit of rest on our weekends. Those of us that are blessed to be able to have a weekend.
So we're going to start at St. Agnes Youth Hall. It'll be September 13th. 7 a.m. is coffee and breakfast foods. Are you cooking, Josh?
If there's enough guys that come, by all means, we'll cook.
Okay.
We did do a sort of a pilot where we did a seminar version of that Man Is You, and we had a good number of guys come, and it was a small enough group that we didn't necessarily do a whole big breakfast. We brought donuts or pastries or whatever and had our coffee. But if that's what brings people in, we definitely would do it.
And then the presentation, so you start at 7, your presentation's at 7:30, and then you break into small groups at 8, and you're done by 8:30. So, 7's not that early on a Saturday morning. You're up and you get going. The friend of mine that was trying to get me to go up in Gaylord, he's at the Gaylord Diocese, and he was like, Gonzo, that's what all my friends call me. He's like, Gonzo, he goes, that never happens to you, Jamie, right? They don't call you Gonzo.
Hey, every once in a while.
The last name Gonzalez, we just get stuck with it. He said, Gonzo, we get up it's early in the morning, like at 6:15, and he goes, but it's so early that you still have the whole day to yourself. So I would imagine that by you're getting done at 8:30, your kids are probably still sleeping if you have teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you can make the most of your days,
elementary
right?
school and middle school ones will still be in bed by the time I get home at 8:30.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jamie, let's ask you this question: has that Man Is You always been an early morning program? Has Saturday's been the big day, or does it vary from parish to parish?
It really varies, in our early years, because you have the foundational program that kind of got it all started. No one thought anybody was going to show up. Doors open the very first day. 105 guys showed up. So once we started growing, it really was all about word of mouth, right? Guys who attended, just like Josh, right, who moved away, and they're saying, "Hey, I got to bring this with me," and they all just looked at us as the model and said, "Okay, I guess that's what we do. We wake up as early as we possibly can on a Wednesday and go to this program." But ultimately, we always encourage mornings at the beginning, simply because we want to practice what we preach, right? One of the big things we do is we try to tell the guys, go home and eat family dinner, right? The importance of family and being home and being present. The work is going to pull you all kinds of ways. We want you home. We didn't want to take them away from family. So our thought is, if we do this early in the morning, the reality is they can go get this experience, get their day started right, and make it to work on time. And it didn't take anything away from the family. We said the joke was that, there's not a lot vying for a guy's time, at 6 o'clock in the morning other than sleep, right? So there wasn't, you're not dealing with sports, you're not dealing with working late, you're not dealing with kids' activities. It was like, if this was important to you, you could make it a priority. And for a lot of guys, it takes a while to kind of get in the rhythm. I would have never thought I'd be a big part of a program that had me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That is not my, I've never been a morning person, but goodness gracious, I am now. And it's a great way to get your day started. But we also have programs that'll run on Saturday mornings. That kind of became popular for us in regions that just had too long of a commute. We had a lot in kind of the Northern Virginia, people going in and out of DC, and they're like, this is an hour and a half drive. Like, we're not going to meet at 4 in the morning or 4:30. So they started doing the Saturday morning. So it's just a little bit later, but like you said, back home, so you can still make it to soccer, spend all the time with the kids. And again, that's what works for most groups. We also have a handful that do run evenings, right? Again, more things to compete with, but we don't ever say no. We just kind of provide the recommendation of what we've seen that works when it comes to timelines.
Well, I think I love the idea of Saturday mornings. One of my best memories, Josh, you'll love this. So, my brother many years ago was working at a golf course. He was the guy that was in charge of changing the cup holes around and making sure the greens were cut and everything. And it was me and my brother, my two brothers. We get together on Saturday mornings or sometimes Sunday mornings, right? And before the kids got up, before we went to church, and I found that as kind of like good fellowship time. You're with your brothers, literally my brothers, but they could be just guys, right? And you're just talking about everything. You're there for each other. You kind of grow together, challenges together, and there's a certain thing about bonding with those that are going through the same things. Is that what appeals to you, Josh, about this or that man is you?
Yes, absolutely. All men struggle, especially in our vocation of husbandhood and fatherhood, and there's just stuff that it's great to know that we're not the only one dealing with this or that. And to
Right.
get a
Just
little
just
advice from the older guys and to reassure the younger guys. And I've had a little bit of question of, hey, is it a kumbaya kind of, talk about our feelings sort of circle? And it can lead to that a little bit, but it reminds me a little more of if you're old enough to remember the Red Green Show, when they start their meetings and their pledges. I'm a man and I can change, I guess, if I have to.
right.
We share what we're willing to, and we absorb the message, and we absorb what the others are dealing with if they do share, and it's just a really good fellowship. And I remember when I was a kid growing up in a farm town. I grew up in the Thumb, so it's nice to be closer to where I grew up. But all the farmers, if it was a rain day, would be at the coffee shop at 6 in the morning. And sometimes even if it's a good day for harvest or planting, they would start their day at the coffee shop to make sure they were caught up. And that fellowship is kind of gone these days. And this is a really nice way to once a week reconnect with each other.
Now, Jamie, I couldn't find a lot of parishes in the Diocese of Saginaw. We have 56 parishes, 11 counties. I asked Josh this question. I said, are you the first one to do it here in this area? Because I did not hear of it at all in this area. So do you know, Josh?
As far as I'm aware, we're the only ones in the Diocese of Saginaw.
For right now, yes. Now, admittedly, I was hoping to get a chance. I wasn't able to check to see if maybe we had a class run in the past. But I didn't get a chance to look. But I can say you guys are definitively the only class in the Saginaw Diocese, which is kind of interesting for me because it also just shows the nature of the program. Always really kind of grows word of mouth, or how, like you're saying, right there, Josh. So there will be some dioceses where we're just everywhere, and then the next diocese over, not at all, right? It's just funny how that happens. I think, but for us, I think Michigan is if it's not still in the top 5, it's definitely in the top 10 of most TMIY parishes in a state. I think we have about 40 to 45 parishes that are running That Man Is You, that are running That Man Is You. The big one for us, John, you mentioned, is Grand Rapids. I think we have like 17 programs in Grand Rapids. We got a lot in Gaylord and Lansing, and then there's a couple of places where we just have one. I think here in Marquette and a couple of other ones. I think there's like 5 or 6 in Detroit. So it really is a lot of time word of mouth, guys moving around. Kind of funny thing here. So it's just a little kind of inside joke. So we're based here in Houston. Our team has always been Houston based. But the joke lately is we now have a Paradisus Dei North. We have 4 people on our staff who live and work full time in Michigan. In Michigan. So
Go
2 of them.
Tigers, beat those Astros.
There you go. Two of those guys are currently, and this is how we got to know them. They were core team leaders within their own parishes, right? So we have Our Lady of Constellation there in the Grand Rapids area, and then St. Robert's and Ada. We had 2 core team leaders there. They were just all stars. Ran the program for years, did great. We got to know them really well, and just through those conversations over the years, they've ended up coming on staff. And so because of that, they've also hired some people close by. So we have a couple of people in Battle Creek, a couple of people so we know the Michigan map here in Houston more than we probably would otherwise. But we love our folks there in Michigan. I'm actually going up there in a couple of weeks for a work meeting. So there you go, Paradisus Dei North up in coming to a state near you.
We'd love to have you drop over to Saginaw if you got some time. We'd love to meet you, Jamie, here in the Saginaw area. All right, so Josh, tell us how this is going to work, because you have to register, right? You have to register, and I know that you have, I want to say, like 13 weeks. Like it breaks up into like a fall spring season. Is that what it is for you guys?
Yep, it's 2 semesters of 13 weeks apiece.
Every Saturday, consecutive Saturdays.
Yes.
And can you miss a Saturday here or there?
You can come as little or as much as you like. We're not going to discourage people if they only have time in the fall to come to 1 or 2. That 1 or 2 will be incredibly valuable, and they don't have a continuous story. It's the same subject, but it's sort of, if you miss one, you're not going to miss the next, or if you missed last week, you're still going to be able to get a great message from this week.
Looking at the marketing materials for That Man Is You, it says becoming a man after God's own heart, the vision of man fully alive, 7 dynamic speakers, newly filmed, more relevant than ever. Jamie, why don't you speak to that a little bit? So who are these speakers, and tell us a little bit more about the details of each program.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been on a journey. So where we stand right now, for the first 10, 11 years that the program ran, we had one speaker, our founder, Steve Bowman. Not because Steve just loved hearing himself speak. It's, he developed the program, and the guy said, we want another year. And so we'd film another year, we'd repeat it. Then about 5 or 6 years ago, the guys were saying, we love the program, maybe we're looking for a change of pace. And Steve was looking to do some other initiatives. So we started doing a multi-speaker program where we started inviting in other speakers, where we would kind of do the outline and they would come in and speak here in our studios here in Houston, Texas. So, right, some of the well-known names, from like the speaker circuits and, the professors. So, the Dr. Hans, Deacon Harold Berg, a lot of really wonderful names, Dr. John Berg, some different people that, a lot of us are Steubenville graduates. So we have some connections back in the university. We have a couple people that are a little bit on the speaker tour. So you get to know those names, and people that have really aligned with us. We brought them in to speak on some of these different years. So we have continued formation after our first year. So depending on the theme, whatever it is we're talking about, like we can choose someone who we know, oh, this person is really good, when it comes to these themes of, biblical manhood. Let's talk about that, or, just different elements. But the very first year, so what Josh is doing, this is our first year ever, we are restarting and going back to our kind of foundational message of becoming a man after God's own heart, man in his, primary orientation to God. And we look and we use, King David as a model, right? From having one of the greatest falls, right, to also eventually becoming that man after God's own heart, right? It's a story of mercy, and it's a story of how, we have failed sometimes when you look at society and male leadership, and we look and see many of the ills, I guess you see in society, or a result of failed male leadership. And so we kind of take guys through this journey of King David as a way to model our own lives and journeys and how we're called to be leaders. So this first year, where it used to always be Steve Molman, is actually now going to be 7 different speakers. Primarily, it's a lot of speakers from our staff and our team, which are really giving the heart of this "That Man Is You" message within this first year. So myself, our vice president, Mark Hartfield, development of the Rosary series. I'm not sure if you guys know Michael Gormley. He has a couple of different
He's
podcasts
crazy.
now speaking. Yeah, Gormley's crazy.
He's crazy.
Gormley, he has a big part of it.
Good.
Our friend Mike from Grand Rapids is there. I have a small part. We have another gentleman on our team, Zach. So there's 7 of us that make up the brand new year one, which is, again, really is the message that has resonated and is why we're in 1,000 parishes. It's this message of failed male leadership and guys just taking accountability and saying, all right, I see where I failed. I take personal accountability. I now want to become a man after God's own heart. And then we provide a pathway. And then after that, you're gonna get back into the multi-speakers, which is more so that kind of ongoing formation. Like you agree, like you understand, like, all right, I see what I need to do. I understand my pathway forward. And then we just continue to give the guys tools and feed them along the way. And as Josh said, if guys miss, that's okay. Like technology is our friend. We have a That Man Is You app where the guys can go in and watch sessions that they missed, where they can keep up with the program so that when they're back in town and available, there's no excuse not to come, because we love to have them in person and really, like Josh said, work on those. Just it's all about relationships. That's what our guys told us. We love our content so much, but after 10 years, that we finally got it when the guys are like, we love the program, we love the content, but the small group, that's the gold. That's what keeps us coming back. It's those relationships that they form with each other. It's realizing they're not alone in their spiritual journey. They have other men. They're going, oh, all right. Like I have some encouragement along the way. That's what it's all about. Finding brothers to journey with you.
So Josh, you must be really super excited about this to see it all come together. I got online. You have some people already registered to attend that September 13th at St. Agnes Church. Well, you'll be debuting That Man Is You here in the Diocese of Saginaw. I gotta stop my watch there. 4 o'clock every day. There's a men's group that prays, so I'll miss today. That seems to happen a lot, though. I don't know what's going on lately. But Josh, so you're excited for this opportunity and excited for this. What would you say to men listening right now? Like what ages? I mean, is it 18 and up? You know, why come if maybe I only go to church every once in a while? I mean, and I'm still listening to this podcast. And I'm going, maybe this is a group for me.
I think if you're a very casual Catholic and kind of on the fence about even wanting to be, and you're a man and you would like some direction in that part of your life, it's a great thing to come and see, you know, what God's plan is for you as a man. And if you're a very old man, you know, you have advice to give and you've been through some of these things, we want you to come for that too. So I don't think really there's any limitation. At St. Pius, we had, I think, a 15-year-old guy who I think is discerning priesthood, who came and listened to all the men talk about their wives and their children. And, you know, maybe that'll steer him towards priesthood that much more. But but I think he you know, saw what it looks like to have a vocation, whether he leans in that direction or not, just from being around those guys. It really is powerful. But our lives are so benign to us sometimes. But then when we get to reflect with other people, you know, we really can see what we've done well and what we haven't, and what we're capable of.
Well said, Josh. Jamie, so to wrap things up here, and Josh did a great job of kind of the shout out there to those that are listening right now and those that are still sticking around listening to this podcast. I guess the same question goes for you too, because, you know, being a man, I think in trying to lead, I mean, you're so integral to your household, right, and to your family, and everything you do and say, things you don't do and don't say are just as impactful on those young lives that you're trying to reach, right? And you have a bigger influence sometimes than you realize, right? Mm-hmm. Some men go like, well, my job is to make the paycheck, pay the bills, and then watch my football on Sundays. Go Lions, right? And they lose focus of like God made us for more than that.
Yeah. Amen. So our founder has a quote in the first year that had always struck me. And he said, "Wherever you're at in your spiritual life, Jesus Christ wants to meet you right there and take you further." So wherever someone is at in their spiritual life, like coming to something like that, man, is you receiving greater formation in your faith, but also plugging into community guys is going to take you further. And so many of these guys, when they come, sometimes it's tough, right? Because sometimes we try to lay it out bare and just kind of like take a step back and look at society, look at where we're at, and really then looking at the role that they played and going like, hey, am I a part of the solution or am I a part of the problem? So for a lot of times, it's for the first time, guys realizing, okay, there's something that I can do about this. And we present a stat to them in their first year. I might get it wrong a little bit, but ultimately the heart of the stat is that when you look at the statistics of children continuing on in their Catholic faith, the difference between, hey, mother and father both go to mass. All right, this percentage of their kids will stay Catholic. If just the mom goes to mass and not the dad, like she's the leader, then it's actually, it's a little bit less than if both of them. But if just the father and not the mom is the spiritual leader and takes the mass, it goes up like threefold. The impact of the father on the faith of the children is massive. It's massive. And so when our guys get that, a lot of times that's when the light bulb goes off. It's not just me. It's not just about me doing it and me just, kind of begrudgingly getting in the car, but me actually leading, like my family will follow, even if they don't realize it. And even if I get some pushback, like my example matters. And that's really what we try to teach the men. So regardless of where the guys are at in their spiritual life, there's something there for them.
Lastly, Jamie, that man is you. Where does that come from? I'm sure it's explained week one.
It is week 1 or week 2, and it is from the story of King David. It's the prophet Nathan essentially telling David that his whole story, but ultimately it's an accusation, right? Where he's ultimately saying like, King David, that man is you. Like you're the one that sinned, you're the one that messed up, and it's that part of that personal accountability, which is kind of funny, right? Because guys, when they don't know about the program, they kind of throw it around like, hey, that man is you. Like it's all nice. We're like, no, it's an accusation. Like we're like calling ourselves out, and at the end, we start from there. We end at where King David ended, like our desires to become a man after God's own heart, which is where he ended. So it's a part of the journey, and it does get explained to them, but it is from the Old Testament.
All right, folks, it's coming up September 13th. It debuts at St. Agnes Church in Freeland at the St. Agnes Youth Hall. Definitely get out there, get signed up. Josh will be there, as well as several men from the diocese and the parish. Obviously, it's open to all men of the diocese, I would imagine. Right, Josh?
Yeah, of the diocese or otherwise, we don't kick people out if they're not Catholic either.
You're not checking cards, not checking diocese cards.
No.
I encourage people to go check it out. I was looking at, it's funny, before we started recording, I looked at my calendar. I'm like, oh, there's no way. I mean, I'm so busy, right? I mean, fall's so busy. You've got sporting events, you've got golf outings. You got so much going on, right? I looked at my schedule. I'm like, okay, I can make this work here. Okay, if I just show up a little late for this, I can make this work here. And I think there was only one date between September 13th and those 13 weeks that I had a hard conflict with. Other than that, I could make it work. So I think, right, Jamie, sometimes people just have to make it work.
Yeah, you make choices, right? We prioritize what's important to us, right? Yeah. And that ends up coming to head. So appreciate you being honest on that one, right?
Right, you have to be, right. That's part of owning it. So, hey, Jamie, if people want to know more about Paradisus Dei, that man is you. I know you have a women's component as well. There's so much going on with your program. Where can they get more information?
Yeah, absolutely. God is doing a lot of really great things. So you can learn all about our programs, all about our ministry at www.paradisusdei.org. And you'll see we have two kind of parish-based programs. There's That Man Is You, and then there's our program for women called She. But then we also have a couple of cool initiatives, the Mysteries of the Rosary, which just played on EWTN, and then a new initiative called the Missionaries to the Family, which is something we're all really, really excited about, that welcome to learn more about and kind of see where God is moving the ministry.
Yeah, everything centers around making our families much stronger. Josh, where can people get signed up, and where can they go for more information?
It's on our Facebook page, St. Agnes Parish of Freeland. they could, if they can't find it on Facebook, the stagnesfreeland.com website has a link to our Facebook page, and there's a registration link right there. There's a poster that's got the QR code as well, so they could just scan it with their phone.
Josh, is there a cost?
No cost.
Free?
Free.
Bring the donuts, right?
Yeah.
Trying to remove all the excuses, right? Low barrier of entry.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, thanks to both of you for bringing on today's show, United in Mission, One Heart and Mind from the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw. Thank you so much. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Bless, guys.